Hey everybody, and welcome back to Team Mattymon. Today will be a personal video, something that I have been kind of working through for a very long time, and I felt like it was time to share about some of the things that I have been kind of working through and going through in this kind of journey where I am almost completely done with classical music. So let's talk about the reasons why I left classical music. In order for you to kind of understand how I got to this point, there needs to be a little bit of kind of like past story time. So the TLDR version was I finished my master's in 2011, and I was kind of working towards becoming a concert pianist. I was booking venues and selling my own tickets, doing my own promotions, figuring out, repertoire for it. And it was good. It was stressful, even from the get-go. You're putting in a lot of money into paying for advertisements, paying for promotions like, printing posters and programs and stuff like that. You're dealing with ticket sales, you're renting the place, and sometimes you even have to deal with the tuning of the instruments just because you don't know, right? That's the problem with being a piano player, is that you never know if the piano there is in tune, if it's up to snuff, or if there's any problems with it. So it was fine. It was all right. And I started just, working at this and being like, it's worth it. It's totally worth the time and effort into doing it. And it slowly turned into something that I didn't really want to work on anymore. I started becoming stressed out about it, frustrated about the situation and stuff like that. And then I went to Banff Center in 2013 for residency there, and it blew my mind. It was the most amazing thing in the world. And I want to thank all the people that were there. Hank, thank you so much for believing in me. And for all the friends that I've met there, it was amazing to meet people who were excited about the things that they were doing, and also excited about the things that I was doing. And I still feel inadequate. Like, I still feel like I wasn't good enough to go, but I was really, really fortunate and really lucky to be able to go. But going to the Banff Center made me realize a couple of things I think I was hiding from even then. I realized that I just didn't have the same drive as the people there. I didn't have the same love and passion for classical music as the people that I met there. But it didn't really hit me until I decided to take a big step back from classical music. So fast forward from the beginning of 2013 to April of 2014, where Jason, Susan, Caleb, Thomas, and we did a project together called Project Pictures, and it resulted in a piece of artwork, which is actually this one right here, and a concert to kind of showcase imagery and music and their art as well. And the process was really fun. It was really, really, really cool. And it was a dream come true for me, kind of breaking down the barriers between different forms of art and working together. And then the concert ended, and everything was packed, and we looked at kind of like, the money we made and stuff. And, we made money, which is great, but we didn't make a lot of money. And that really disappointed me, because I thought, well, up until now, I didn't make a lot of money because it was just me promoting and me kind of trying to reach out to people. Maybe if I worked with other people, that would change, and it didn't change. It made me realize a couple of things that I didn't realize at the time. I was not happy. I just wasn't happy with what was happening. I was frustrated because I was working so hard, and I was putting so much time and effort into something that people just didn't seem to care. And when I meant people, I meant like even people that are dear to me. There were always like my family, my immediate family, that were always there, that were supporting me, and that was very nice. And there were always the same group of friends who would come to every concert, and that was really nice. And I appreciate you guys. You guys know who you are. Thank you so much for your support. But there were people who just, no matter how hard I tried, just never showed up. At that time, I was going to a church that my dad was pastoring at, and people were just like, oh, it must be great. Like, there's like 300 people there. A lot of people must be supporting you. Practically no one came. And even if they would come, they wouldn't come again. And I mean, hey, you know what? For to each their own, right? You know, classical music is something that some people like, and you know, some people don't, and it's okay with that. But I felt the lack of support, and that didn't feel good. And that also extended to my extended family. I mean, they were there for my graduation recital when I graduated from the university, before I went for my master's, but they didn't show up after. They didn't come to anything. And I think what made it even worse and what made it even harder for me was that one concert in April in 2014, where my cousin's family showed up, but because they were friends with the artists, they had not shown up before. And that really hurt. That was not cool. And I didn't appreciate it. And it took me a couple of years to get to the point where I wanted to kind of express that, but I have now. And that wasn't cool. And I wasn't okay with it. Another reason why I decided to take a couple of steps back was I needed to take care of myself mentally. At that time, I was pushing myself really hard. I was trying really hard to prove to myself that if I worked hard enough, I could make it. You know, if I just put that extra effort, I would be considered successful. And I realized that I was not looking for success in the right ways. I was trying to prove to other people that I was successful, and I realized that I wasn't convincing myself. And really, when it came down to it, I only needed to answer to myself. And it took a couple of years, and I can comfortably say that I am a successful musician. I am successful in my own right, and I don't care what you think and feel about where my career is at, where I'm at in my life or whatever. I believe that I worked hard and I proved to myself that I could do it, and I did it. You know, I wanted to do a concert, I did it. I wanted to set up, you know, an online music magazine, I did it. And for me, that was good enough. But I needed to take a couple of steps back and worry about my mental health a little bit, which in turn led me to hire a personal trainer and then ultimately to do CrossFit now and really take care of myself in a physical sense and my fitness and everything and watching what I eat and how much I sleep and how much water I drink. I realized that while I was kind of just like tunnel visioning in classical music, I just wasn't taking care of myself in the right way. But the last thing, I think the most important thing about taking a step back from classical music was that I had alluded to this before. I realized that I just didn't have the same level of passion and commitment to classical music like some of my friends. And looking back on my life, I saw signs, but only looking back. There were a couple of times where, and no names, but like where I would be talking with someone and they would be, and one of them used the word appalled at my lack of education in classical music, my lack of wanting to listen to classical music and be immersed in the culture and be immersed in the dialogue of classical music, the readings and the, you know, interpretations and everything. And I, even to this day, I don't really enjoy listening to classical music. Then again, I don't really enjoy listening to music in general, but classical music, yeah, I've never really listened to it as an enjoyment. There have been a couple of times, but not really. I think that's the ultimate thing. I just wasn't happy about where I was. I wasn't happy about what I was doing. I wasn't getting any joy. And I've chatted with different people about it, and I know a lot of people have had different kind of stances on things. I think chatting with my father has been an interesting thing as well. Not talking about music, but just kind of in life in general. And him telling me that sometimes enjoying something and being happy while doing something isn't the all in all. It shouldn't be the most important thing. And that was an interesting conversation because I don't agree. But you don't have to agree with everyone, right? You live your own life and you figure it out yourself. I just wasn't happy with the way that I was. I wasn't happy with the person that I was becoming. And it showed, you know, I was gaining weight. I was miserable. I was constantly jealous of other people. And it wasn't the Matthew Poon that I wanted to be. So here we are now. And couple of years later, about 3 years, over 3 years after I quit my solo career, I find myself taking the very last step and stepping formally away from classical music. I have recently just said no to renewing a bunch of gigs in January. So I will no longer be performing at all, I guess. And only time will tell if I'm going to be doing any classical music anytime soon. But right now, my arrangements and the things that I do makes me happy. And really, when it comes down to it, that's all I can ask for right now. It's just being content, being happy about the things that I'm doing, being excited, and hopefully finding people who are excited about the things that I do as well. It's still tough. I think my past life is still haunting me in that sense, and I'm frustrated about it as well. But we can talk about that on a different video. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of unload that a little bit and share. And I hope that for some of you who may be in the same situation with a different career path, or classical musicians out there, maybe you're feeling some of the same things that I felt back then. And I don't know if this has helped, but I encourage you guys to be strong and courageous and take care of yourself first. There is no such thing as a waste. There is no such thing as lost potential. Everything that you've done in your life has enriched you and had made you who you are. Make sure that you are healthy both inside and out. And for the people who don't support you, they don't need to be in your life. All the best to you guys. This has made me feel a lot better sharing. It takes me a little bit of time to process, and I try not to respond in kind of like a quick way. I mean, yeah, 3 years is a long time, but I like to sit and think about things and kind of slowly kind of review and analyze it before I talk. And this is kind of how I feel about it. So no more classical music for now. Not a blanket statement saying that I'm not ever doing it ever again. But for now, I'm happy leaving that behind. So that's my story on why I stepped away from classical music. Hope you guys learned a few things and learned a little bit more about me. I don't know. I have a lot to share that I still am kind of processing. So if you enjoy these kind of things and you want to continue on, in this journey, please make sure you do subscribe, follow, and everything. I appreciate your support. And I hope you guys have a great day. It's kind of, meh outside right now in Victoria, but I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.